All right. Hello, guys. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Yeah, in this video, the main intention is to treat some random past questions and answers for those preparing for the Joint Admission and Matriculation Board Unified Tertiary Matriculation Exams. Yeah, these questions are random in the sense that questions are selected from different years, and in order to serve as a guide, as a key point to those who are preparing to sit for the exams. Basically, the computer base, which is the main thing now. So, but the main idea is that we get questions from the pool of questions that Jamb get to set their questions from, to prepare students, that are writing the exam. So it's gonna benefit those who have studied the syllabus thoroughly, because the syllabus is covered in secondary school from SS1 up onto SS3. So it will benefit those who have prepared very well. This video or this particular effort is in no means the main material that you need to dwell on in order to write your exams. You have to study the topics, study your notes, read your textbooks, and all that of you. So for short of time, I'll just head straight. My name is Miba'am Benjamin. I have a YouTube channel that is aimed at answering economics questions, basically from secondary school, undergraduate, and even postgraduate. So more videos will be coming. Thank you. So we have about 25 questions, and we're going to utilize them within the hour that Zoom, allows for, such kind of video. So we go straight to the questions. Number one, economics is a social science concerned with the proper use and A, production of goods and services, B, distribution of wealth, C, allocation of resources for growth, D, creation of utility. So as far as this question is concerned, the answer is C. Economics is basically concerned with proper use and allocation of resources for growth. You all know resources are scarce. So economics aims at proper allocation of resources for economic growth to be achieved. Number two, commodity is defined as normal when its demand changes in the same direction as A, income, B, price, C, taste, D, preferences. Yeah, in this case, the answer is income, which is A. Why? Because income changes in the same direction. A commodity is defined as normal when its demand changes in the same direction as income. Yeah. So out of these options, they are all factors affecting demand. But it's only income that's clearly, move in the same direction with a normal commodity. Price, it moves in opposite direction. Taste, also, it depends. It can move in the same direction, it can move in the opposite direction. So it's preference. So the clear answer is A, which is income. Number three, a supply curve slopes upwards from left to the right, indicating a negative slope. B, a positive slope. C, a backward sloping curve. A backward sloping supply curve. D, short run supply curve. In this case, the answer is clearly B. As we all know, and the supply curve slopes upward from left to right, unlike a demand curve that slopes downward from left to right. So it's very clear. It's not a negative slope, and it's not a backward sloping curve, a backward sloping supply curve, and it's not a short run supply curve. So number 4, contrary to monetary policy, a contractionary monetary policy is used to control A, deflation, B, inflation, C, recession, D, balance of payment. You know, the answer, I believe most of you will know, is B, contractionary. The word contractionary means, reduction in money supply in order to control, inflation in the economy. So the central bank usually does that. Contractionary monetary policy, it basically is what help curb inflation. That's when there is too much money in circulation. And when there is too much money in circulation, the aggregate demand increases. And when aggregate demand increases, people tend to spend more. And when people spend more, inflation arises. So the central bank tries to cut short the money in circulation so that inflation will reduce. Number 5, the determination of wages in a labor market depends on the A, government, B, people, C, interaction between demand and supply of labor, D, economy. Most of you will know this, that the answer is C, interaction between demand and supply of labor. When there's too much supply of labor, what happens? When there's too much supply of labor, wages will fall, and then wages will fall because the demanders of labors will have excess labor and they will choose from anyone that they want, and because of that wages will fall, and then a lot of people will supply their labor for cheap wages. So the answer is interaction between demand and supply. Let me see if I can adjust this. So an economic condition in which much reduced economic activity coexists with inflation is referred to as A, stagflation, B, inflationary spiral, C, slum inflation, D, inflationary gap. The answer in this case, I believe at this level, it's also taught in economics, that's in secondary school. Stagflation is a situation where unemployment and inflation coexist at the same time. It is an abnormal relationship in economics because unemployment and inflation are supposed to be inversely related. By inversely related, it means they are supposed to move in different directions. When unemployment increases, inflation, when unemployment increases, inflation is supposed to reduce because many people will not have, work to do, and therefore will not have wages, will not be paid wages, and their purchasing power will drop, and therefore inflation will drop. But when employment increases, inflation, also when when employment increases, inflation increases. So the whole idea is, the answer is stagflation, and that is when unemployment coexists with inflation. It's against economic reasoning, because ordinarily inflation is supposed to exist in an inverse direction with unemployment. But in this case, reduced economic activity occurs as a result of unemployment. And then at the same time, inflation also exists. So that makes it a stagflation situation because they are moving in the same direction. The next question is number 7. The money market equilibrium is defined as A, when the demand and supply of money are equal. B, when demand is greater than supply of money. C, when demand is less than supply of money. D, when supply is greater than demand for money. In this question, we all know that equilibrium is a situation where demand and supply are equal. When demanders agree with at the same point that suppliers agree. So in this case, since it's a money market situation, it's a situation where demand and supply of money are equal, and not the other options. So number 8, the arithmetic mean of 5, 8, 10, 15, 24, and 28 is, in this case, sorry, I have to use a calculator. In this case, we all know how to calculate the arithmetic mean, right? Arithmetic mean in this case, since this is an ungrouped data, all we need to do is to sum the individual numbers and then divide by the total number. That is, we're going to sum 5 plus 8 plus 10 plus 15 plus 24 plus 28. Yeah, so that gives us 90. And then how many of the numbers we have here? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So what we're able to get summing it is 90. That's the summation F, the frequencies, and then divide by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Divide by 6, and that will give us wait a minute. I think there's a mistake somewhere. I'm getting 66.6, but we have 5, we have 8, we have 10, we have 15, we have 24, we have 28, which gives us 90. And then 90 divided by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 90 divided by 6, 66. 66.6. I think for this question, maybe there is a typo somewhere, but ordinarily for this, the arithmetic mean is supposed to be 66.6, but I can't find that option here. So let's proceed. Maybe I'll have to address this question in subsequent videos. Yeah, number 9, an economy in which the whole income is not consumed is referred to as A, a frugal economy, B, spendthrift economy, C, capitalist economy, D, mixed economy. The answer is frugal economy. Anything frugal is when when excesses are curtailed. So an economy in which the whole income is not consumed is referred to as a frugal economy. The next question is number 10. Supply is A, a stock, B, a flow, C, a constant, D, a table. You know what a stock is, you know what a flow is, you know what a constant is, and a table. So in this case, the answer is a flow, because supply is a variable, so it's a stock, it's a flow variable. When something is a flow, it means it takes different dimension, at different times. It keeps changing. So supply, as keeps changing, with time. It's not a stock. When you're talking about a stock is when you're talking of a point in time, and then supply is usually not, considered as a point, as a stock, but rather is considered as a flow variable, just as demand too, and other economic variables. So number 11, if two commodities are unrelated, a change in the price of one will A, have effect on the quantity demanded of the other, B, have no effect on the quantity demanded of the other, C, increase the quantity demanded on the other, D, decrease the quantity demanded on the other. Yeah, so the answer is B. Yeah, the reason why I said the answer is B is because, the two commodities are unrelated. When they don't have any relationship, they are neither competitive good, they are neither complementary goods, they are neither goods that have derived demand. So when the price of one increases, it does not affect the price of other. Yeah, so they don't have any relationship. You can think of an example that you may want to use. Number 12, a demand which gives rise to the reverse of the law of demand is, a demand which gives rise to the reverse of the law of demand is A, derived demand, B, a joint demand, C, an abnormal demand, D, a composite demand. This is very easy. The answer is what? Abnormal demand. Abnormal demand moves in different direction. So in different direction than the normal law of demand that we know, which says the higher the price, the lower the quantity, all things being equal, and the lower the price, the higher the quantity demand, all things being equal. But given a reverse law of demand, it means that when the price increases, the quantity demand also increase, and that makes such a good an abnormal good. All right, so let's go to the next question. I hope you're following. The study of economics becomes necessary because of the A, large population size of the world, B, scarcity of resources, C, opportunity cost of goods and services, D, need to satisfy every desire of man. I know most of you will know this question. We know the answer to this question. Number 13 is, the answer is B, scarcity of resources. That's a major reason why the study of economics, was introduced in the first place. Scarcity of resources. And that's why the definition of economics is the social science that study human, relationship as a relationship between ends and scarce means which have alternative uses. So the basic reason why economics is very important, even up to this day, is because of scarcity of resources. And another important concept is the unlimited one. People have unlimited one. People want to have everything, but the resources to provide those things are limited, and that's why economics come into being. So that those scarce resources will be channeled effectively to help satisfy some of those unlimited ones of human beings. Yeah, so number 14, the number of people who are qualified to work and who offer themselves for employment is called A, migrant labor, B, working population, C, labor turnover, D, mobility of labor. Yeah, in this case, the answer is B, working population. That's the labor force, actually. The labor force are those who are qualified, who are willing, and who offer themselves to be employed. Some people can be employed, but they may not be qualified. For instance, children who are under the age of the legal limit for people to work. When they are working, we can't consider those people as being part of the labor force. Many other examples that you can think of when you read your books. I mean, those of you that have read your books, you know that. So as a factor of production, the reward for land is A, profit, B, interest, C, rent, D, wage. This is one of the first thing that in economics, as a beginner, in SS1. the factors of production. We have the land, labor, capital, and then we have the entrepreneur. And then we all know that the reward for land is what? The reward for land is rent, isn't it? Just like the reward for labor is wage, just like the reward for capital is interest, and all what have you. So this question is very straightforward. Number 16, the two major types of international trade are bilateral trade and A, internal trade, B, multilateral trade, C, bilateral trade, D, trilateral trade. Yeah, this question is easy, but it's kind of trickish, especially when you're under, stress of exam. You may easily tick the wrong answer, but in this case, the two major types of international trade are what? Bilateral and multilateral. And you know the difference. Bilateral is between two countries, just two countries. Maybe let's say Nigeria and China, or maybe Nigeria and USA, or Nigeria and maybe Brazil, any of the trading partner. When you consider just the international trade between those two countries, is known as bilateral trade. But the other one is multilateral. Multilateral means three or more. That's when the countries are into trade. When the countries that are into trade are more than two, consider it as multilateral trade and not internal trade. Internal trade is like domestic trade, while the opposite of it is also international. So, but, the two types of international, it's talking about international trade. So take note of that. The next question is number 17. In a capitalist economy, factors of production are owned and controlled by the A, citizens, B, businessmen, C, government, D, foreigners. In this case, you know the answer, I believe, though they try to make it a bit trickish. But those of you that are smart will know that the businessman here refers to what? Private individuals, right? Because businessmen are just private individuals. So in a capitalist economy, factors of production are owned and controlled by the businessmen, not the citizens, not the government, not the foreigners, but rather by businessmen. All right, we're making progress. Number 18, the reduction in the value of a country's currency in relation to the value of the currencies of other nations is known as A, deflation, B, inflation, C, devaluation, D, revaluation. So what's the answer here? The answer here is what? Devaluation. You all know. When you're talking of reduction in the value of for country's currency in relation to the value of other currencies of other nations is known as what? Devaluation. Currencies can be devalued with the aim of attracting, foreign investors to come and, patronize the economy, or with the aim of encouraging exportation of the goods within an economy. Because when a currency is devalued, it becomes attractive for other, international trade interest people to come to the country that has devalued, her currency to purchase, goods and maybe services, and then export it, to their own country. So the answer is D, devaluation. The expression of cost in terms of alternative foregone is referred to as, this is one of the basic concepts of economics, the expression of cost in terms of alternative foregone is referred to as, anything alternative foregone is known as what? Opportunity cost. We all know. So the answer is not scarce resources. The answer is not decision making. The answer is not choice, or rather the answer is opportunity cost. Yeah, so we're making progress. I think we have about 6 more questions to go. So number 20 now, taxes and government expenditure are instruments of A, monetary policy, B, tax policy, C, economic policy, D, fiscal policy. The answer is fiscal policy. This question is a question that that occurs on regular basis as far as economics in UTME is concerned. The government tries to control the economy through two major means: the fiscal policy and the monetary policy. So the A option is also part of control of the economy, but it's not through tax and government expenditure. So taxes and government expenditure is actually fiscal policy, and you have to be very careful. Sometimes the question will come with an option of fiscal, like being physical, PHYSICAL, and then this fiscal too, because they sound the same. Some people may make that mistake of choosing that, but it's fiscal, it's FISCAL policy. This policy is a policy where the government tries to control the economy or to control the money in circulation, control how the economy moves, the direction the economy moves through taxes and government expenditure. The tax individuals, they tax household, they tax firms, and then sometimes they also expenditure, they spend in terms of expenditure, recurrent expenditure, what do you call it, capital expenditure, and so on and so forth. Yes. So the answer is fiscal policy. The next question, 21, transfer of public shareholding in corporations to private enterprises is A, incorporation, B, concession, C, privatization, D, commercialization. Yeah, so we all know transfer of public shareholding in corporations to private enterprises is known as what? Privatization. It has happened during the military regime after the independence, when the military took over, some certain enterprises were taken over, and then okay, sorry, I'm trying to explain the opposite of it, but privatization is basically mostly when government business ventures, especially when they are not making much progress, the government can decide to transfer the share by selling the company the shares, to private individuals, for efficient running. For instance, in our present time, some of you may know that the power sector, some components of the power sector has been privatized. Yeah, for instance, like in the North Central here, we have the Just Electricity Distribution Company. It used to be purely public owned organization, NEPA, but NEPA was unbundled, and there's the distribution, there's a generation, there's a transmission. So in terms of the distribution, it was privatized, and then it's been sold to, it was sold to private individuals, and they're running it. I know there's Just Electricity Distribution, there's Eco Electricity Distribution, Enugu, Edo, and the rest of those. I know they are numerous. So that's privatization. When public shareholding in corporations, is transferred to private enterprises, or transferred to private interests, is known as privatization. The next question is the money paid per hour for work done is A, cost, salary, A, cost, B, salary, C, bonus, D, wage rate. What's the answer? Simple. The answer is what? Wage rate. The money paid per hour for work done is the wage rate. The wage rate, the whole idea of wage rate is usually, the payment per hour or payment per day, So, but the salary component, we can say the salary is the computation of wage rate, up until a month before payment. That's the difference. So the whole idea is that if it is on per hour, it's just the wage rate. It's popularly done in advanced countries, like when you go to the United States, you discover that mostly people work on wage rate, work on per hour basis, and then you can either be paid on that day, or maybe you can decide to be paid on weekly basis or so. But the main idea is that if it's on per hour basis, it's known as wage rate. So number 23, by utility, we mean, this is very simple. You know what utility is about. Utility is all about what? Satisfaction, isn't it? Yeah, so it is not A, it is not C, it is not D, but rather the answer is option B. By utility, we mean power to satisfy a want. When you have a want and then you have the power to satisfy it, that is known as utility. Number 24, concentrating industries in one place is advantageous because there are gains in terms of what? A, cost economies, B, economies of scale, C, internal economies, D, external economies. The answer surely is B, economies of scale. When concentration of industries is done, as when most industries are done in one place, there's what is known as economies of scale because they're going to be sharing infrastructure, they're going to be sharing, a lot of things, and then all firms or all industries don't have to cater for their self-interest, but some of the things they jointly share, and then it cut down production cost. Then it also encourages economies of scale. Yeah, so the last but not the least, when elasticity is zero, the demand curve is A, circular, B, downward sloping, C, perfectly inelastic, D, concave. Elasticity is zero. When elasticity is zero, it means that no matter the price, the quantity remains the same. So in this case, the answer is C, perfectly inelastic. No matter the price keeps changing, but the quantity remains the same. Actually, there isn't any perfect example to demonstrate that, but there are examples that are similar to that no matter the price, the quantity remains the same. For instance, let's say salt in cooking. No matter the price of salt, you do not use too much of it or too less of it when you're cooking your food. You use almost the same quantity, right? Yeah, so whether the salt increases much or when the price reduces much, it's almost the same quantity that you're going to use. So it means that such kind of goods have perfectly inelastic demand curve. So thank you very much for staying with me up until the end. Actually, this is the first video I'm doing for my YouTube channel, but the whole idea, like I said earlier, is to prepare you. I remember that when I was in this stage, we used to have key points, and then you study your textbooks, what your teachers taught you in class, and then you use a key point to keep memorizing, especially when the exam is nearby. So this is also one of the reasons why I did this video, to encourage you, and then for the questions to serve as key points to you when you're preparing for the exams, hoping that you'll be able to pass. And then another thing again is that most of these questions are randomly selected because Jamb usually have a pool of questions where they select from there. So some of these questions may come out to you in your CBT, that's computer-based test. Yeah, so if you can remember this, at least you'll be able to answer it. The question may not come straightforward like this, but maybe they can change the options A to be B, B to be C, and so on and so forth. So, but the main idea is for you to understand. That's why I try to give some, bit of explanation at, the secondary school level, because, if I want to explain at advanced level, maybe I may end up, confusing. So thank you very much. Please subscribe to my channel so that I can, be encouraged, to do more videos that will prepare you for, your JAM, and then maybe probably even WAEC, NICO, and all those other exams. When I'm encouraged, I'll do more videos, to share with you, and then, serve as a guide for you, because, we're in the digital age now. Everything is in computer. So that's why I'm making this video, to put it on YouTube, so it will help, you to pass your exams. Thank you very much. Till I hear from you again. Bye.